Hello there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Hearthstone. It's ASCII here for Nerf TV, and today we're going to be checking out a late game priest deck. Now this deck is designed to get you into the late game very safely with high HP, whittle down your enemy's board, destroy a lot of their big plays, get them weak, and then finish them off with some of the most powerful minions in the game. Now let's go through the cards, explain how they all work, and at the end we've got some gameplay to show you. So first of all, we have two Holy Smites useful for removal at any point in the game, and we also have two Power Word Shields, again useful at any point in the game. This gives a minion plus 2 HP and also draws a card. Fantastic value is the Power Word Shield, a great card at any point. Northshire Cleric, whenever a minion is healed you draw a card. Now this is useful in the early game to guarantee you the cards you need to get yourself into the late game, and the cards you need are the Ancient Watcher, Sunfury Protectors, and Defender of Argus, cards like that. Now the Ancient Watcher is very important. He comes as a 4/5 that can't attack, but if you can give him taunt using something like the Sunfury Protector, that's then a nearly impossible taunt wall for the enemy to get through unless they can silence it. And if they silence it, you can then attack with the Ancient Watcher, making it an incredibly powerful play. This is one of the best cards in the game. It's incredibly underused, and in this sort of combination it's a deadly machine. Absolutely have to have these in the deck. Something great to play about with. So the Sunfury Protector gives any adjacent minions next to it taunt. Be careful when you position it, because you don't want to give your Northshire Cleric taunt, because it's just going to get focused down before the Ancient Watcher. Make sure just to get the Ancient Watcher with it. While Pyromancer gives the deck a little bit of AoE, this is mainly for countering any rushdown decks. You can drop your Wild Pyromancer, follow up with Holy Smite and Power Word Shield and stuff like that, and you're going to start clearing the enemy board if they're going for some sort of rushdown play. After that we have Shadow Word Death. Now you notice we have missed out Shadow Word Pain. That's because you've got plenty of ways to deal with these early game minions. The Ancient Watcher is just going to soak them up and not going to be much of a problem. Shadow Word Death will destroy a minion of 5 attack or more, so into the late game this is very useful for clearing off the enemy's board at a very low cost. Then we have two Fort Steals. This copies 2 cards from your opponent's deck and puts them into your hand. Quite useful for getting some extra card draw and also getting some stuff that you shouldn't normally have access to, which can sometimes make it absolutely incredible and crazy plays. Then we have Injured Blade Master. Now he synergizes quite well with the Northshire Cleric because you can heal him back up, and he is best if played by a priest because you can keep healing him back up and get that HP back on him. Now normally he would come out as a 4/3 and he's taking quite a bit of damage. However, when you can heal him, he comes back up as a 4/6. That is a very powerful minion for only 3 cost. Then we have 2 Shadow Madness. You gain control of an enemy minion with 3 or less attack until the end of this turn. Great, you get the minion, you trade it out for something else. Hopefully you kill 2 of their minions in one play. Really, really useful for that kind of thing. Takes a little bit of situational awareness. Keep your eye out for the right moment to play it. It's not always the perfect card, but sometimes it can turn a game around. Defender of Argus, he gives a minion +1/+1 and taunt, useful with the Ancient Watcher like I mentioned before. Great if you've already got an Ancient Watcher and a Sunfury Protector on the board, because you can give them both taunt, giving yourself a stronger taunt wall, buffing it all up, healing it back up a little bit. Absolutely great card there. So far all these cards have been about getting you through into the later part of the game, and the rest of them from now on are going to start focusing into that later part. So we have Holy Nova for clearing the board, getting rid of loads of enemy minions, getting yourself some really good card draw if you happen to have a Northshire Cleric in play and a few of your minions are injured. Really useful card there. Only one of them in the deck, don't really need more than one. You should be controlling the board fine. Abomination does very much the same sort of thing as Holy Nova. However, he's a taunt that will deal 2 damage to all characters, and this is something that the enemy is going to struggle with because they don't know whether to attack into it because it might cost them their minions. It's great for countering divine shields and stuff like that because they'll attack into it, pop the shield, then they'll take the damage. They don't want to do that. They're making it a really useful card. It's actually one of the best taunts in the game. It's quite underrated, but it is quite a situational one. You don't want to play it if you're going to kill loads of your own minions at the same time, so pay attention to everything that's going on the board. We have 2 Holy Fires. This deals 5 damage to a minion or an enemy hero, and you restore 5 health to your hero. Really useful for turning the game around in the later part of the game, recovering a bit of HP and getting some momentum back as we hit into the later part of the game and we start dropping the following cards. Bloodhoof summons a 4/1 Bane Bloodhoof when he dies. Really difficult for the enemy to remove, a big strong card. Great turn 6 play. Then we have Gruul on turn 8. He gains +1/+1 at the end of each turn. Now that means your turns and the enemy player's turns. So he buffs up really fast into the late game. Now Ysera is another card that could replace this if you happen to have Ysera instead. In many ways Ysera could be better, but I like to have Gruul in it because he's very underused and I think it's actually quite a useful card. Obviously it can be subject to silence, but it still remains a 7/7, which isn't too bad anyway, and you soaked up a silence with it. So quite a useful card, a good finisher. We have Ragnaros, again another very strong finishing card. Great, he can't attack, but at the end of each turn he deals, well at the end of your turn he deals 8 damage to a random enemy. Good if you can focus it in on the enemy hero by wiping his board clean. And then we also have Mind Control to round out the deck. This is for stealing an enemy taunt or any big minions they happen to play out right in the late game, so you're controlling the whole of the late game. You've got big strong minions, you've got Mind Control to steal something from them, you've got some serious removal, you've got a taunt going into it, and you've controlled the game all the way through, hopefully cost them a whole load of cards on the way up. It's an absolutely really fun deck. You've got to bide your time, focus on what you're doing in the early game, and then crush them as they get into the late game and you can absolutely destroy them. Let's get into some gameplay now and we can actually show you this deck in action. So as the game begins, we've got Holy Fire, Northshire Cleric and Shadow of Death. We don't need the spells, we'll keep the Cleric. Draw into another Holy Fire and an Ancient Watcher. So Ancient Watcher at the start of the game, fantastic. We need to mulligan aggressively to get that. And we draw into a Sunfury Protector. So now we're set. This is an almost perfect draw for this deck. So we got the Northshire Cleric out straight away to begin with, giving us that minion on the board so we can start getting some value out of him if we can, get any chance for some good heals. And then we're going to get the Ancient Watcher on next turn, and then we follow up in the following turn by the Sunfury Protector. We've also drawn into Defender of Argus, so on turn 4 we can drop that down. So that's going to defend him. We're going to knock that off the board, putting ourselves into a position where we can heal our Northshire Cleric for card draw if we want to at any point. Outdoor Peacekeeper nerfs his HP quite badly, but we're going to be able to buff him up the Defender of Argus to keep his shield up, and we're also going to put a shield on that Sunfury Protector as well, making him tough. So now we've got a big strong taunt wall up in front of us, and we can wipe off a couple minions off the board. Now this is what this deck really specialises in, is setting up that wall that's very difficult for the enemy to get through. You can see he's using Divine Shields and stuff like that to try and get through this wall, but he's not got many cards that are really going to burst through that particularly quickly. We've drawn into three of our late game cards now, so we're pretty much set. Getting a Holy Smite, so we're going to use that to remove that minion from the board and start clearing it away a little bit. Make sure we can maintain board control, which is very important in the early game. More important to maintain the board control than it is to damage the enemy hero, so make sure you keep a focus on that above anything else. Fairy Dragon comes out, buffs it with Divine Shield. So he's going to use that next turn to get rid of our Ancient Watcher. So we're going to come out of Bloodhoof, putting a big strong minion on the board, so as we move into the later part of the game we can start to deal some serious damage to him. Drops a Sunwalker, so that's going to be quite difficult to remove. It's going to give us some issues. I think we're going to go out with Abomination. That's going to give him something more difficult to get through. He's not going to want to attack directly into it that much. We're just going to have to pass the turn, I think. There's not really anything we can do. If we attack with our minions, we're pretty much wasting them. I'd rather keep our board sort of fairly full and give us more options into the next turn. So he burns his Divine Shield there, we're getting some good value out of that. He goes straight for us rather than going for either of the minions on the board. Possibly a little bit of a mistake. We heal ourselves there, unfortunately that doesn't proc the heal on the Northshire Cleric because it only affects minions. But we are able to clear his board completely and deal some damage with Bloodhoof. And now we're into turn 8 and turn 9. We're going to start getting these big powerful minions out on the board. He's going to struggle to find a comeback now. So doing a little bit of damage to us. Shadow of Death, not really going to be of any use, and we can't use our Mind Control yet. So I think the only real play we have here is to drop Gruul out and let him buff up a little bit and start getting scary out there on the board. We've got a big health advantage at the moment, and we have got strong minions out in the field, even if we can't take big advantage of them at the moment. Unfortunately, we can't play Gruul and heal, otherwise that would be a nice play because it would also get us another card in our hand. Trade out, making sure we maintain that board control. No point in wasting the HP off of our Northshire Cleric and just sacrificing it for nothing, so we attack into its hero with that. He drops a Sunwalker. That's not going to be a problem as we're just going to be able to mind control it next turn. And this is where the deck starts to dominate in the late game. These tough minions are so hard for the enemy to remove. You've got that mind control to steal that across, and suddenly the game is completely going against him. Again, continuing to focus on controlling the board. We do have the strong minion out. We've got a taunt with Divine Shield out. We're not really in any real danger. And it looks like we're going to win this game. I don't think there's anything he's got now that's going to be able to counter against this. And there we go. We've got the victory. Well played. Remove that from the board. Big burst damage. We even had Holy Nova still in our hand. We had a Fort Stove. We needed card draw. We had everything going our way. Completely controlling the game throughout. That is what this deck is all about. Controlling the early game with those big tough taunt minions, and then going into the later game with good HP and then dropping some big tough minions just to end the game and finish him off. This is our late game priest deck. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.